How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays are for football. That's why we're here to help you get your next DIY project done, even when the clock isn't on your side. Whether that's a new Filtrete filter or Bosch and Cobalt power tools, Lowe's has everything you need to feel like the MVP of DIY. So get it done and earn your Sunday. Shop now, in-store and online. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
You're listening to the Cruise Tips TV Unplugged podcast. Today, we are sharing details of the cruise that almost didn't happen. Welcome to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. I'm your host, Sherry, and we invite you to join our cruise-loving family as we travel the world creating cruise videos and vlogs. In this podcast, we talk tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make every cruise your dream cruise.
But it did.
But it did happen, and here we are. Hello from Japan, everybody. This is going to be a fun one. Mr. Cruise Tips TV and I were sitting in our stateroom. We're actually on the second cruise of our Grand Japan adventure, and we're chilling, and we're about to tell you the story of our cruise that almost didn't happen. It was close. It was a close call, but we're going to talk about what happened, the flight journey on the way here, and then the first leg of this crazy summertime adventure over here in Japan. So we scheduled this cruise the very last minute, friends. We had an opportunity to get a killer deal on Diamond Princess. If you've been following us for a long time, you know that cruising Japan and specifically Diamond Princess are one of our favorite destinations. It's just a really special place for us to come. Our son's getting a bit older. He's in high school now. He's also studying Japanese, but we wanted to do what we feel is like maybe even a last hurrah before he's up and out and doing college and things like that. So we found this incredible deal on Diamond Princess. The trick was, it was actually kind of a not so great itinerary. It had 4 sea days, 2 days in Taiwan, which is great, but that's not really Japan. And then just a couple port days down in the southern islands of Ishigaki, Okinawa. But we thought to ourselves, what if we could find another cruise that started right after this one ended? And we thought it might be kind of tough because, first of all, we're going to have to find one that is exactly right after it, right? And we also had to find something where we could change our flights. We'd already booked a return flight. So we started researching and checking things out, and we found another cruise on Norwegian Spirit from Tokyo to Seoul, 11 nights. And the contrast here with this one was that cruise, or this cruise, because we're currently on it right now, is 11 nights, and it has zero sea days. So all ports, that's a doozy. That's like, the kind of thing that you experience only when you go over to Europe and do those kind of med hopper cruises. So to get over here, we had to fly from Dallas to Tokyo, and we thought everything was going to be just dandy. We had booked a direct flight on American Airlines, Dallas to Haneda Airport. It's gone off without a hitch for us before. In fact, every time we've flown to Tokyo, it's been perfect, punctual, fantastic, great. So we thought, everything's going to be just fine. But lo and behold, a couple of weeks ago, one of my friends who was coming over here on American Airlines, by the way, flying over to Tokyo, out of a different city, she was flying out of the West Coast, her flight got canceled while she was at the airport. Like, just at the airport, they just straight up canceled the American Airlines flight to Tokyo. And it got me thinking, if that happens to us, we will absolutely not make the cruise, because even though we were flying in a day early, it's a full day journey to get over here. So it could be cutting it too close. So what I'd done is moved the flight to 2 days before the cruise and booked 2 nights in a pre-cruise hotel in Yokohama, which is near the port. And it turns out that was the best decision that I had made. And that sign from my friend was a little foreshadowing of something bad that was about to happen. So we got in our Uber the morning we were ready to go on our grand adventure, all the way on the way to the airport, 4 or 5 hours before our flight, plenty of time to get there, but not too early. And I get the dreaded text message pop up from American Airlines. And it's just got this bold red line through the middle of it that says, "Your flight has been canceled." And I was like, oh my goodness, the worst has happened here. We are in trouble, because I had no idea when we'd be able to catch another flight. I started looking at flights the next day. They appeared to be full. It was looking pretty grim, but we kept on going. We decided to go ahead and proceed to the airport because we were too deep into the drive to turn around, and we thought maybe, just maybe, we could catch some kind of a flight with a connection the same day. Got to the airport, went to this sort of check-in desk, where you check your bags at the American Airlines terminal, and the gate agent there, he just really couldn't do anything for us. And he said, well, eventually here in a moment, American Airlines is just going to rebook you automatically. So you could just hang tight and see what they rebook you on. And that happened. They rebooked us, and they rebooked us on kind of a terrible flight. They gave us premium economy seats the next day that were all completely separate. So we wouldn't be sitting together, and it was not looking good. And we thought, this isn't how we want to travel, right? We had paid some points for a premium economy upgrade, but we, under no circumstances, wanted to be separated. So what we did was we begged and pleaded with the gate agent, the check-in agent at American Airlines, to get us a hotel voucher in Dallas so that we could comfortably get to a hotel and just chill.
I want to back up for just a second so we can talk about when stuff like this happens. Number one, when you see that canceled flight thing, it's best not to panic. It's best not to get mad. It's best just to remain calm and try and get through the situation no matter what. It's all part of the journey, all part of the adventure.
That is a fact. I think that one of the things that tends to happen when you have a flight cancellation is you think to yourself, okay, I've heard people say that when something like this happens, I should take matters into my own hands, right? Like if you follow people who do points and miles and lots of flights and things like that, they're going to tell you, you got to be your own advocate in the event of a cancellation. Don't wait for customer service. Get on the app and book yourself, right? And I thought about doing that. I thought about rebooking myself, but this was such a big flight. I have to admit, I was kind of scared to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. And like I said, it's unnerving. But I got to tell you, there were other people on the same flight that got angry and upset and panicky. But it would turn out the same for them no matter what. There's better ways to handle it.
Right. And then you're the one who's stuck with all that anger, right?
Right.
You've done nothing for yourself. No one at the airport's more likely to help you if you're angry. In fact, usually it's the opposite of that. But I have to say, I was pretty scared. I was upset inside, but I knew we'd figure something out. I knew we'd get through it.
And one thing that, before you get too far away from it, one thing you should mention is that we are in a circumstance where the hotel wasn't necessarily included in that condition because they were telling us that we could drive home. So when you say you talked him into doing it, you begged and pleaded.
Yeah.
It's because they were telling us that, no, you don't really qualify for this.
They were calling us locals.
Exactly.
And I had to say, no. A 2.5, 3 hour drive is not local. And he's like, let me see your driver's license, ma'am. And he plugged in my zip code. He's like, oh, yeah, you're not local at all. He said the system would not allow him because we appeared like, local enough to the system, wouldn't allow him to give the hotel. But we were very kind and very much, taking our time and hoping that he could work through it. And he went and got a manager to override it and got us a hotel voucher. Now, could I have filed a claim for my travel insurance and just got my own hotel reimbursement? I could have. But that's one more step for me when clearly the airline needed to step in and help out here, right? You've got someone who is very likely going to be delayed for a full 24 hours and just completely stranded in a large city. So they did a good job, though. They gave us a $12 per person meal voucher, which was about a bottle of water and a bag of peanuts at the gift shop.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
they did what they could do.
They did what they could do. So, ready to move on to what happened next? Got
Go.
settled into our hotel, had a really good experience with early check-in. I think it was like a Fairfield Inn and Suites at Dallas Fort Worth Airport. They were so kind. They let us check right in. And you guys, it was like 11 in the morning, right? They could have turned us away and said, hey, we can't let you check in till 3. You got to wait. But they didn't. They were super sweet. And we got ourselves checked into the hotel. And then once we kind of got that calmness about us, we realized, we have a special phone number at American Airlines because we're Platinum Pro. We're not the highest level at American. You know how if you're, whatever airline you're working towards, you can work towards the top. We're not at the top. But we did find that we have our own customer service number. So by this time, we had seen that American had booked us on another flight the next day, but all of our seats were separated. So we decided to give them a call, the American Airlines special desk, and it was the best decision we could have made. And if anyone is in this situation and you have any kind of status with your airline, granted, a lot of times we don't. A lot of folks have to kind of, you have to fly whatever airline you can to get to your destination, right? But if you do have status, get on the phone with them and see if they can help. They were very confused at first because they didn't understand why we were giving up our premium economy seats. They're like, you want to give up premium economy? And we're like, yeah, we want to give us all of our points back and let us sit together in economy. So they were super helpful, and they got us on to Japan Airlines, same flight basically as the American Airlines flight with a different airline the very next day. So what this meant was we were losing our lead. We were losing that fun little 1.5 day layover in Yokohama that we so desperately wanted. But our planning had paid off because we had built in this extra day just in case something happened, and it happened. So we flew on Japan Airlines, and guys, it was a good experience. We flew economy, and we decided to do something that we've never done before. We actually made a full video about it. It's like a flight review. And the idea behind the flight review is that we could communicate to all of you guys what it was like to fly on a different airline. Maybe you've never flown on Japan Airlines on a very long economy flight. So we filmed, of course, discreetly, very discreetly, basically the whole entire 13-hour experience, from boarding to what the seats were like to, what the restrooms look like. We filmed our food, talked it in detail about all of the meals that they gave us. We filmed our seat back entertainment, and it was kind of fun. It was neat to document something different for you guys, and I hope that you'll go check out that flight review. If you do check it out, a lot of you have probably already seen it and left me a very kind comment. We've had a lot of great feedback on it. But if you do watch it, let me know that you heard about it from our podcast so that I know that you were, you thought to maybe go watch it from here. I'd love to hear what you think about the flight. I guess short version of the review is Japan Airlines is a class act. I just have to tell you, if anybody out there is planning a flight to Japan or Asia on one of their beautiful aircraft, we flew on one of their brand new aircraft, and it was a very dignified experience. It felt like what flying felt like to us 35 years ago. You had, not only were the staff and the crew just so on point and elegant and kind, but I got to tell you, the guests were pretty darn well behaved too. There were many times on this flight when I observed things that I was shocked about. Number one, I never saw a single piece of trash on the floor during the entire flight. Nobody dropped and left their garbage on the floor. Nobody purposefully had their bags sticking out in the aisleway. Of course, some people's elbows were maybe sticking out because they were tall and they couldn't help it. But in general, it was one of those ultra civilized experiences. It was almost silent the whole time. And I think it's maybe one reason we enjoy traveling to Japan. I think there were probably a lot of people on that particular flight that were coming to Japan, and sort of they were already on that best behavior that makes Japan such a wonderful and interesting place to travel. But it was a good one. It was a good one. So we got in, we got a taxi to our airport. We normally would have taken what they call the airport limousine bus, which is basically it's basically a bus, right? It's not a public transit bus, but it is an airport coordinated motor coach that they fill full of people and take you to certain neighborhoods. But that one didn't work out for us. They said it was going to be an hour. So we decided to kind of do something different, get in a taxi, and it paid off. We got to our hotel, got checked in, and had one really restful night in Yokohama, made our standard convenience store visits. When you go to Japan, you have to go to a Lawson or a 7-Eleven to experience the unbelievable high quality of stuff they have there. You can get like full high quality meals if you needed to, delicious snacks, souvenirs, coffee, whatever it is you need. And then the next morning, it was time to board our old friend, Diamond Princess, and we were ready for it. How are we doing so far? Doing good? All right. So, like I told you guys, this itinerary that we had chosen with Diamond Princess, it was not super ideal. In fact, I'm going to go as far as to say, if you're thinking about going over to Japan to do a cruise, and it's your first time, please don't do this itinerary, the one that goes to Taipei for 2 nights and only hits 2 places in Japan. Those 4 port days, only 2 port stops in Japan. What I meant to say, it's not enough.
Well, I think you have to preface that with what you want from your trip, because if you want to see Japan, then this isn't the right cruise for you. But if you want like a nice, relaxing experience,
right?
Then
if you want some CAs, but if you're really trying to get a taste of Japan,
if you're trying to see Japan, you're probably going to be disappointed,
right? So just to recap, this cruise started off with 2 sea days. Then you had an overnight in Taipei, which is Taiwan, right? Taipei is beautiful. There's so much to do there, but it is not Japan, right? So we were docked in Keelung, which is a port city on Taiwan. They call it Taipei, but really Taipei is more inland from this particular area. So you're going to Keelung. You can leave the area and go inland, and it's absolutely beautiful, by the way. The inner mountainous region of Taiwan is spectacular and something that I highly recommend that you check out if you're going to be going there. But those were our first 2 port days. And then we were going to the southern islands of Japan, which we'd never done before. And that was a big draw for us, was to go to all new places, right?
You should mention that Keelung is very walkable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to do right off the ship.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to go back and talk about everything that we did. Yeah. Absolutely. So we're just giving a high-level overview of the ports. So the 2 southern places that we went we basically went to Okinawa. So the first island we went to is called Ishigaki, and it's part of Okinawa. And then the second day we went to Okinawa proper, went to Naha. But yeah, let's talk about Keelung. You said is super walkable.
It's very walkable.
Rare. One of those rare places.
I don't know if I'd go as far as saying super walkable, but it's walkable. And I think that the fun thing about that is it's not all touristy.
Mm-hmm.
You can like get like right into the heart of authentic, if you want to, authentic Taiwan experience, right? There's all those markets right there. Just a couple of minutes from the ship.
The downtown is just right there.
Yeah, and there's sites that you can walk to, like the shrine. There's a number of them.
Yeah. So one of the things that you wanted specifically to do on this particular whole adventure was to try to find ways to do things more on our own and off the beaten path. So that whole journey of not booking all shore excursions for this trip, it really started in Taipei. And you said, let me research it. Let's figure some things out that we can do on foot and by ourselves. And that was our first day on shore. And it turned out to be a great adventure.
It was fun.
Do you want to talk about it? You want to?
Well, hey, it's if you're looking for a lot of it easy adventure.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff to discover.
Mhm.
You can do it there on foot.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not when you dock, you're right on the waterfront. The harbor is walkable. You're right by the city. You can go to the night market. There's all kinds of things to do. Unlike in Japan, a lot of these places in Japan, when you dock, you're basically docking in an active port and in a very industrial area, and you have to take a shuttle bus sometimes to get to your location. Other places like Shimizu and things, very walkable. You could do things right there. But Taipei is an exception. And so what we did some research on things that we could reach by foot. And the things that we found to do were to go to the Taipei Tower, which was a cool place that was kind of probably like a half a mile. Oh, the Keelung Tower. Was it the Keelung Tower? Thank you for reminding me. My son is he's in the background mouthing aggressively my mistakes that I'm making during this podcast. And that is one of them. It's the Keelung Tower. Sorry, guys. I'm thinking about Taipei, but really we're in Keelung. So we did that. And then surrounding the Keelung Tower were a series of other monuments and landmarks. To get there, you kind of walk through the harbor and walk past another cruise terminal that has an actual Taiwanese cruise company cruising out of it. And then on the way back down the hill, you see a lot of things too, some beautiful gardens, some shrine type setups. And we even got to see an air raid shelter that day, and then walk over to the downtown area of Keelung where you could do some shopping. There is a market over there. And we put a good 4 miles, I think, on our feet that day, right? That was a big walking day.
Yeah, Junior and I put 5 miles on our shoes that day.
You did. The next day, actually, you set out. So we wanted to do an organized tour in Keelung the first day, but it ended up getting shifted around for one reason or another, and we ended up doing it the next day. I think it was weather or rain or something. I can't remember what the reason was. So we got the lay of the land the first day, and then the next day we took a night market food tour with Viator, except for that we did it during the day. We didn't really want to go out and do the night market because we heard it could get very, very busy. So this was an interesting experience. I want to talk a little bit about booking through Viator, you guys, because this isn't something that we normally do. But the reality is that Viator has inexpensive and very abundant shore excursions that you can book. That's the good thing, okay? The downsides are as follows when you're booking with Viator. Maybe some of you are familiar with these already, but A, Viator tours are not necessarily designed for cruise guests. And one of the reasons that we almost always book with Shore Excursions Group is, as the namesake states, all they do is shore excursions. The only way you're really booking anything with Shore Excursions Group is to go plug in your itinerary and get suggested tours. And those tour operators, they know where to find you. They know where you're coming from. You don't have to arrange additional transportation to get to the tour. Viator doesn't work that way. You may have to get yourself to a launching point to start your tour. You may have to communicate with a tour provider to find out where they're going to find you. And the second downside is that they have a 24-hour cancellation policy. So if something changes, you might not get your money back. So please use caution, guys, if you're using Viator. We filmed a cruise review of this particular trip on Diamond Princess, and I'll probably link to the tours. I just want you to be an informed consumer and know that I do recommend researching on Viator and potentially booking there, but you got to understand that they are not a shore excursion company. One thing you can do, though, is when you're searching Viator for tours, you can look for the ones that are labeled as shore excursions. So you can actually filter by shore excursions, right? It might say like food tours, night tours, tours with children, and then they have a subcategory called shore excursions. So start there, and potentially, if you want to book, just be aware of that. You can also contact the tour operator or Viator via chat in the app if something goes wrong, and we'll tell you about something that went wrong a little later, but with a different tour. So our food tour our walking food tour did happen. We met our guide in Taiwan. As you're going to hear as a theme throughout this whole entire experience, you guys, it was unbearably hot that day. We knew that we were going to be traveling during a warm season. We had done Japan in August 2 years ago, but we thought that maybe going in September it might cool down a tad. So I hate to start the story by beating the dead horse of it's still hot in September, but if you're booking, please know that it is. We met our guide. She gave us these headphone things to put into our ears for the duration of the tour so that when she was walking down a busy street, we could still hear her talking about the history of the area, the food that we were about to sample, whatever it was that we were looking at. So we set off on foot and we headed over to the downtown area of Keelung. We walked around. We went to a mosque. I think it looked like a temple, but I think she called it a mosque.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We went to the inside area of the night market, which is very, what's the word? It's primitive, guys. It's primitive.
It's busy.
It's busy.
It's busy.
It's interesting.
It's authentic.
Authentic.
That's what you're looking for. It's authentic.
Authentic is the word. To the point where when you're upstairs at the market, right? And look, you guys, we've been to a lot of countries that I would consider third world. This competed with that. You were dealing with like fresh fish stalls, and right next to that, you could get your hair shampooed and cut. But it was like, when I say right next to that, I mean like
kind of open.
Like it was almost like someone's house.
Not like you're in separate buildings.
No, not even really separate stalls. It all just kind of ran together.
Yeah, it did.
So it's a bit authentic. Didn't feel super clean, I'll be honest. But we did end up settling down upstairs to have a bowl of beef noodles, and it was good. It was good. It was a little hard to get past the conditions on this one. We've done food tours before that were, they're food tours. You're eating street food. What do you expect, right? But this was a little bit more.
It's a when in Rome
moment.
moment.
Yeah, a little gritty though. A little gritty.
Yeah.
So.
But you have to.
We wanted a when in Rome.
Be like the Romans.
Or in this case, what were all of the cruise ship crew telling us that they do when they go to Keelung? They were saying, we go to the night market. It's amazing. So we thought, let's try it. Bustling, busy, lots of food stalls on the street once the market opens kind of midday. And it is an experience. So something for you to consider if you're into that kind of thing. We were glad that we did it. But it sort of cemented the idea, that experience cemented the idea that we're thinking, maybe we want to do a little more DIY here. Because I think by the middle of that tour, we were a little bit more like, okay, how do we get out of this, right?
Well,
I'm not going to.
But that sounds bad. It was the heat. I think we'd seen enough in we
were kind of
felt
done.
like we had the full experience and it was just so hot.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think it was a bad tour because it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was a good tour. It was hot.
Yeah.
And we were out on the street a lot.
Yeah. And we didn't really want to eat anymore. Another problem too,
I was done.
In that kind of heat and in those conditions, I think you start to lose interest in food. It was like, if this was like a nice cool day, maybe in winter, December, it would probably be a totally different feeling.
Yeah. It was a good tour. The sights were great. The experience was terrific. The guide was great.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful.
Really sweet.
But there was a point where we're like, well, given the temperature,
yeah,
we've had enough.
Yeah. Advice, if you're going to any of these places in summer, pack an umbrella, not for the rain, but to keep the sun off of you, like a parasol, right? This is something that the locals here commonly do in addition to seeing neck fans, personal fans, whether they're handheld or battery operated or whatever. You need to find ways to keep yourself cool. And thankfully the guide let me borrow an extra umbrella she had because it was crazy. And I ended up getting a little bit of a sunburn that day. But that was our Taipei experience. We really had a great time. Keelung is cute. I do recommend if it's your first time going to Taipei, please take an excursion that is structured, that takes you somewhere like the coast. The Yelu Geopark is a wonderful place to go. Anything with waterfalls. There's a hot springs resort up in the mountains that you can do. You could also search our YouTube channel for Taiwan and very likely get some good information there too about things to do. But I don't want Keelung to be your only perception of Taiwan, because it's just a teeny tiny little coastal city and there's so much more to see.
True.
Yeah, let's move on to the southern islands of Japan and talk a little bit more about our experience in Okinawa. So our first port stop was in Ishigaki. Ishigaki reminds me so much of Hawaii, you guys. It is part of Okinawa, but it's sort of smaller. It's a little bit more rural feeling. It's less of that bustling, sprawling concrete city. And when you drive around there, you're going to see sugarcane fields and beautiful trees. And even the locals look like, they kind of look like Hawaiians because they're all wearing flip-flops and t-shirts, and they've got their young guides with ponytails. And it feels like Hawaii. It's the trippiest thing to be in Japan, but to have it feel that way, which it makes so much sense based on the location and the weather there. So we had scheduled another tour with Viator, and you guys probably see where this is going. We had a little bit of a Viator adventure on this one because I decided that I wanted to branch out and book some different types of tours. It's hard to find tours in these areas, so I took what I could get. Well, we decided to book a canoe and snorkeling tour. And the night before the excursion, I got a WhatsApp message from the tour operator, and it had all of these questions in it. It was like an interview. It was like, okay, we've got you guys down for tomorrow at 9:00, but here is all of the information about the tour. And are you still willing to participate based on all of this? And it was like 500 words or more of instructions and information. Well, one of the things that it said in the introduction that we somehow missed on Viator was participants need to be between the ages of 5 and 59. My husband is 62 years old, guys. So we were like, what do we do here? Did you feel old when that happened?
No, I do when you say that.
Right? It's like this really happened. You guys have seen him enough on our videos to know you got an athletic guy here on your hands who can handle any activity or excursion thrown at him and seeks them out. So very active. He's a runner. He lifts weights. He's an athlete. So we were shocked. And honestly, we were kind of embarrassed and mortified. So we started a dialogue with this tour operator, and we were like, are you telling us that we can't do the snorkeling portion of this tour because my husband is 62 years old? And they're like, nope, sorry. It's on the description of the tour on our website. And I was like, I would have never missed that. If it was that bold face, they actually sent me like a screenshot and said, here it is. So we ended up having to cancel the snorkeling portion. I almost canceled the whole thing because I was mad. Right? You're in that reactionary moment, right?
Yeah, but to be fair, it didn't bother me. It really didn't. It bothered you way more than it bothered me. I was like, man, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. Thankfully, you reasoned me through it. We took some time to think it through because we wanted to kind of cancel the whole thing. I was feeling kind of spiteful. I was like, this is not cool, right? You tell me my husband's too old. I know for a fact he can out canoe anybody. But like, why am I having to deal with this?
See, I think you're onto something there. I think what it is they knew who I was, and they were afraid they would not be able to keep up with me.
You think so?
That's what I think happened.
Yes, I think so too. So they were pretty nice about everything and said, we'll refund you for the snorkeling portion if you want to stay and do the canoeing. They call it canoeing, but really, you guys, this is just another word for kayaking. So we decided to keep it. And we showed up at the tour location, and the guide was really sweet. She had no idea that any of this age stuff had happened, by the way. They didn't, the office didn't tell the guide, which is great. And we proceeded to the kayak location. If you are going to book this tour, one thing you should know is there is no availability of a restroom or a toilet for the entire duration of the tour. So for about 3 hours, and they tell you this and make you agree to it. In the description, in that text that they sent me, they said, you must use the toilet before you get in our van. There are no toilets available. And I was like, that's weird. But then when I saw where we were launching the canoes, I kind of understood. Like the van just pulled over on the side of the road and there were kayaks there. So it made sense, right? So we did our canoeing. It turned out that it was absolutely beautiful. We went to a place called Kibera Bay. It was pretty. You can't swim in the water, and we would have loved to have gotten in the water, but it's a protected area. And we had a really good time. Of course, who was the one who was lifting all the kayaks out of the water and stacking them up at the end of the day? You, right? And Junior was helping too. But yeah, I think you were physically capable. We were a little bit relieved actually that we didn't do the snorkeling because we were kind of over it and ready to just kind of, I don't know, get back to the ship and relax. But Ishigaki is beautiful. If you're going there, get out and see the island, drive through all those beautiful sugarcane fields and enjoy it. Now I know we're going a little long here, guys, but I do have one more port to cover for Diamond Princess. And then we'll have to do a separate podcast episode to cover so much more. I've had requests to have Junior come on the show to talk about some of this, and we're going to review our Norwegian Spirit cruise separately because it's so port intensive, and that story is still unfolding. But our last day on this cruise before our final 2 sea days back was Okinawa. And as many of you guys know, there is so much history in Okinawa, right? You have, there's just a lot that was going on there during the war, and there's a lot to see and do. And we really wanted to make sure that we were able to experience that. So this time we booked a private tour with Shore Excursions Group. It was a pricey tour, I will tell you that, but it was totally private. And this was a very special way to explore Okinawa. So we started off at the former Japanese Navy underground headquarters with our guide. The funny thing is, our guide was actually not Japanese. She is from China. She kind of said that right away. She spoke fluent Japanese, but she kind of taught us about how Okinawa is more of a melting pot than many other areas of Japan. People move there for a lot of reasons. And we started at the former Japanese Navy underground headquarters. And this was a very powerful World War II site that is now actually turned into a peace memorial. And it's a really interesting thing to wander through those tunnels and to see where so much history took place. And, you know, it's actually very sad and devastating history in Okinawa. There was a lot of suicide involved at the top ranks of the military. It's something you have to visit and experience or study about to learn in depth, but kind of a sobering but also important thing to see while we were there. Then we went to a castle called Shurijo Castle. And this castle actually basically much of it burned down in 2019, but it's being reconstructed.
Pretty much all of it.
All of it except
like one post with a carving in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the stuff that wasn't wooden, right? So all the rock
like the
structures
stuff,
are still there, but the wood structures all burned down. But it's being reconstructed, and when it is done, it is going to be beautiful and restored to its majesty. It has burned down before too. This isn't the first time.
What did she say? 7 times?
I think so. Yeah. This thing is burnt. The area around it, the actual large castle building. So Shurijo Castle was it was once the heart of the Ryukyu Kingdom. And the restoration is happening, but you can still walk around the grounds, and there's some great shopping there and a lot of really beautiful history there as well.
We should probably clarify that it was the shrine, but I think that's the main attraction. It's this shrine that's burned down.
Oh, okay. Got it. The shrine was the part that burned down?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Got it. Thanks for letting me know. So one of the nice things about a lot of these monuments is they do have some, this is going to sound a little bit commercialistic, but they do have some nice shopping on site.
I'm wearing a shirt from there
you
right now.
You are actually wearing your shirt from, you and Junior got some phenomenal shirts.
I got to say, I generally don't buy
No,
anything.
you're not a souvenir guy.
It's just fun stuff.
Right. there are so many fun souvenirs in Japan, guys. We brought a big bag with us for this one. We had no idea how much we were going to need that bag. We have been souvenir crazy, and I'll tell you more about that. If you guys hear a little background noise right now, it's because the cruise director is giving an announcement out in the hall.
So rude.
So rude.
We're trying to do a podcast.
Duh. So funny. So after that, after the castle visit, we had a nice Okinawan lunch, and you guys are going to laugh. Our delicious local Okinawan lunch, we actually chose to go to the mall because we were so hot that we didn't want to do the street food thing again. After spending some time on the streets of Taiwan, we were like, no, take us to the biggest air-conditioned building. But the funny thing is, they actually have very authentic Okinawan restaurants in their malls. And in many of these countries you travel to, that is very common. So you don't have to go and eat on the street to have good food. But we did. We had a wonderful lunch there, good variety. And then lastly, we went to a place called Kokusai Street. And that's where they have shops and food. That's the tourist street where you can walk. And this was a really fun way to end the day. I'm glad that we did the Navy Underground headquarters and the Shurijo Castle first, because the Kokusai Street was really touristy, and we didn't really dig it. We were kind of done and over the tourist thing at that point, and really more enjoyed having the guide that day to take us through all of this beautiful history. So I got to tell you guys, this was a really special tour. We kind of had the flexibility too. If we were done somewhere, we could just go with our guide and she would get us back in the car. We would move on, and we knew we were going to make it back, obviously, to the ship. But if you want to see some photos and videos from that day, go to Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook and just look at my post from September 15th, and you can see a video about the experience. And you'll see the tunnels, you'll see the command center in the Navy Underground headquarters, you'll see the castle. It's really quite beautiful. But then it was two sea days back to Tokyo, and we got to jump on a ship that we've never been on before, Norwegian Spirit, and here we are right now. Got to try out a new cruise port, the International Cruise Port in Tokyo. That was new to us, and we're visiting a bunch of new ports this time, and we're going to tell you guys all about it soon. But it's been a great adventure, and I've had a lot of requests for podcasts on this. I hope this isn't too niche for many of you friends. I know that Japan cruising, it's a heck of a lot of flight time to get over to this region of the world, but if you ever get a chance to do it, we highly recommend it. Until next time, see you on the high seas.
Thanks for listening to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at CruiseTipsTV.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching Cruise Tips TV. We'd love if you'd leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe to the show, and tune in next week. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.